This is the 2023 Triumph Rocket 3R. Is it a bit of a one-trick pony, or can you actually use it every day? Let's find out together. The bike is all about this engine. 2.5 litre, 165 horses, 221 Newton meters of torque, which is just mad. What an absolute crazy engine this bike is. Right, so let's get going. It's also got a lovely super low seat height of, I think it's 778 millimeters, which also means I can totally flat foot it. Happy days, that doesn't happen too often. Right, so what the heck is this bike all about? Well, obviously it's a big muscle cruiser, but Triumph kind of designed it so that it's a cruiser that actually handles quite well. And in their marketing kind of stuff, they said they wanted it to handle more like a street cripple. Street cripple. Oh, no, not that. A street triple than a cruiser. And we'll find out if that is all just marketing guff or if it actually does handle quite well. So yeah, this the Rocket actually came out in the 90s. Or it was designed in the 90s, and I think then it came out in the 2000s. That was the original Rocket. And back in 2019 they re-released it, so this is the second generation of Triumph Rocket. It's 40 kilograms lighter than the previous bike, and the previous bike had an engine which was 2.3 litres in capacity, and the Triumph engineers thought, you know what, that's just not enough, that's just not good enough, so they upped it to 2.5 litres, or 2,458 cc, I think. Good Lord, it's hard not to be impressed by that. But yeah, essentially I've been riding this for a few weeks, and I've done everything on it. I've commuted on it, which is about an hour each way. I've done all sorts of trips out on it. I spent an entire day riding it down to the coast, about 4 or 5 hours. So I think I've got a pretty good idea of what the bike is capable of and what it's not very good at as well. You know, I'm not going to really run over a detailed analysis of the tech specs, because you can just go and read that on the website. Oh, good lordy lord. Luckily it's got fairly decent brakes, which are the renowned Brembo Stylemas. They are very, very good. But it seems to handle itself very, very well. So I commuted on this to work, and it's about an hour on a mixture of some country roads, some A roads, and then a bit of dual carriageway towards the end. And what I found was, quite surprisingly, that the bike is actually quite comfortably. The bike can do it comfortably and quite capably, so it might not seem at first glance as a sensible option to commute on. You can most definitely do it. I didn't feel like the bike was out of its comfort zone at all. Doing the slow stuff, it was absolutely fine. On the motorways it was okay, it's a naked bike, but you can get a little screen if you really want to have a screen. It's got a little deflectory thing up front, but yeah, I felt it was pretty fine to ride. And actually I got off when I reached work, and I expected to kind of have a bit of pain, but there was none of that. It was all very much a pleasant experience, and that's not something I expected. Here we go, a bit of a twisty road. And that is the big surprise as well on this bike, is just how well it handles. Now obviously it doesn't handle like a street triple, because it weighs over 300 kilograms with fuel, but considering the size, it handles exceptionally well. Because you look at it and you think, well, that's just gonna go well in a straight line, and that's pretty much it. Well, I'm happy to report that that is not the case at all. The engine, of course, is, as you would expect, a 2.5 litre lump to be. Absolutely endless buckets of torque, a twist of the wrist, and delivers smooth but seemingly endless power up to that 7,000 RPM red line. golly, that's, like I said, it's hard not to be impressed by this bike. Oh. In terms of just the pure power delivery, but also how you can throw it into a bend with, you know, certainty that it will get you around the corner without too much fuss or too much effort from your part, actually. I got some air there. Oh. Obviously you can ride this bike sensibly, but where's the fun in that, eh? So we're in 6th gear, pootling along at 55, 57 miles an hour, 2000 RPM. You know, it's got so much torque that it will just pull through anything. Ergonomically, it's actually the seat has got a nice scoop to it, so you do feel like you sit in the bike rather than on the bike. And the seat itself is very, very comfortable. My top half does feel a little bit stretched forwards, and my arms are quite wide because the bars are really, really wide. I think the GT has bars that taper back towards the rider a bit more, so that might be a little bit more distance friendly. But having said that, like I said, I've been commuting and I did an entire day's ride down to the coast and I didn't feel massively uncomfortable at the end of the day. Let's close that. So we're at 70 miles an hour, just under 3000 RPM. I can feel absolutely zero vibrations. I'm really struggling to actually detect anything at all. That engine is just so smooth and well balanced. So it's a 3-cylinder, if you didn't know, 165 horsepower, 221 newton meters of torque. But yeah, it's just effortless to ride. If you want to ride it sensibly, or just do a bit of a distance on it, you can do. You don't need to razz it, you don't need to spank the arse off it, you can just keep it in a nice high gear and just roll on that power, and it will just accelerate up to whatever the top speed is on this thing. I haven't found out yet, just because I felt like I don't need to. But yeah, motorway stuff, it's actually pretty good. My knees aren't horrifically bent up, they're kind of at a right angle, so the pegs are a little bit in front of me. I think they call it mid position, but I do find it pretty comfortable. So, you know, even on a longer journey, no knee pain. I thought I'd get lower back pain because it's cruiser seating position, but I didn't have any back pain either. And yeah, it's quite a nice place to be. And one thing this bike does give you is a lot of attention. No matter where I go on this thing, everyone looks at it, everyone points at it. Bikers and non-bikers alike, they're all interested in this bike. Me and my lady were out taking pictures yesterday, and there was a group of ramblers, about eight guys, and they stopped and were just absolutely in awe of the bike, and we got chatting. I got a picture with them all, because 4 of them were also called Dan, which is quite amusing. But yeah, it's a real talking point amongst people. They really do seem impressed by it. So if you're shy or an introvert, this might not be the bike for you. It's got an 18-litre fuel tank, despite the massive size, or seemingly massive size. It is only 18 litres. Now I've been getting around about 40 miles to the gallon out of this behemoth. What that is in terms of actual mileage, I can't say at the moment. I'd say about 130. I think it's about 130 that the fuel light comes on. Once you get rolling, this bike just handles very well, and it feels, it's got kind of the bars are very adventure style because they're so wide, but the bottom bit is very cruiser, so it's quite a mixture. It's quite a mixed bag, but it's not uncomfortable. As I said, it's really quite pleasant to ride, and it's got oodles of power. The braking performance is okay. It's I find the brakes lack quite a bit of bite, but until you put some force through the lever, and then they perform really, really well. but that initial bite just isn't there. There's not very much, and then all of a sudden they sort of kick in. The rear brake is quite nice. It's quite a nice powerful rear brake, but it feels like there's quite a lot of travel on the lever, so you're not just see, all the kids are absolutely loving it. Yeah, and in this chrome edition it does look quite nice. I prefer the non-chrome, if I'm honest, just because I think this would be a nightmare to keep clean. So yeah, it's been a bit of a surprise, because before, the time I had the bike before, I just kind of did a few little trips out on it and didn't ride it long distance or anything like that, or commute on it. And this time round I've made sure I did that, and yeah, it's been a pleasant surprise. And you could actually use this bike every day, which is just mad to think about it. A bike that looks like this is an everyday bike. And I don't say that lightly, but I do honestly believe this would be an absolutely fine bike to use on an everyday basis. Sure, it's going to cost you a bit in fuel and tyres, because that rear 240 section tyre, that's not going to be cheap to replace, and the front's a 150. And as far as you know, they are specifically made for this bike, so I don't know if there's other manufacturers that make these tyres yet, perhaps, but I dare say they're not going to be cheap. Asking price is about, I think the non-chrome edition is about £22,000, which I don't think that's that bad. You look at other bikes around, and you know, your litre sports bikes aren't far off that. Adventure bikes are pretty much the same. You know, you look at a BMW GS Adventure, they're about 20 odd grand. And this can do this! This just really does have a lot going for it. It's certainly not boring, that's for sure. So you've got these big Showa, 47mm Showa forks up front. You've got a Showa monoshock at the back, Brembo stylemas, double headlights, big old 150 chunky tyre. So these are the Avon Cobra Chrome tyres, specifically designed for this bike, and there is the beating heart of this machine. 2,500 cc's of pure, unadulterated craziness. And it doesn't sound too bad. It's not as loud as I thought it would be. It's very bassy. It's just very bassy. It hasn't got any kind of that triple whine at all. Single-sided swing arm as well, and this is actually shaft drive. They probably couldn't get a chain that would cope with the power going through this thing. It's got a rear caliper is a 4-piston monoblock as well. But yeah, what a hell of a thing. And as I was saying, this is the little scoop in the seat, pillion seat of course, but I wouldn't really be comfortable taking my lady on the back unless it had the little backrest. Big old chrome tank. One disappointing thing is this looks a bit tatty, or tacky I should say. I'd like to have had like that all finished properly, not see the bolts, but yeah, it looks a bit cheap for such a premium looking bike. Everywhere else it looks pretty premium, but there are a few little bits here and there that aren't quite as premium. So adjustable forks up front, and you've got a remote preload adjuster somewhere in there. That rear light looks cool, doesn't it? Very Judge Dredd. And just look at that sort of profile, that teardrop shape of the tank. Very imposing. Okay, so let's throw a leg over it. As I said, I can totally flat foot it, and yeah, it's quite a comfortable place to be ergonomically. Moving the bike around, you know, it's over 300 kilograms. You're gonna, ooh, he stalls it. You're gonna struggle. It's not light. It's not a light bike when you have to move it on your driveway. So picking your parking spaces, you do have to be careful, especially if you're not strong in the leg and upper body department. So some of the negatives for this bike that I've personally found is, one, I don't like this fuel cap. I wish that was a little bit more premium underneath. But I don't like the dash. I don't like this fake TFT, this analog fake TFT dash thing, and it's got this little pizza slice thing at the bottom where the gear indicator is. I know it's meant to be little gears and stuff, but it just looks like a slice of pizza to me. It makes me hungry. I would have preferred an analog dash, to be honest, or 2 analog dashes with like a little TFT or LCD bit at the bottom. I think that would have looked better and much more in keeping with the design of the bike, I think, but just my opinion. The engine, it being so big and the headers being right by your legs, it does get hot, especially when you're pooting around in traffic. So that's one thing I did find when I was commuting, is that it does get hot, and once those fans kick in, you're getting blown, super hot air blown right at you, which isn't all that pleasant. But again, it's, you know, you can't expect a massive lump like this to run super cool. It's not going to happen. The bars being so wide, I did struggle commuting. No, I did struggle filtering a little at times. There were some bits where I couldn't get through without bonking other cars' mirrors, so I did have to be very, very careful. But you know, that is also true of some other bikes that I've ridden that are not as big as this. I did ride it at night, but as it's summer, it wasn't super dark, so I'm not quite sure how the lights perform. They seem to be pretty good, to be honest, but I won't bother showing you any footage because you're not really going to get a decent impression of the night riding via a GoPro video anyway. It changes all the lighting and the colouring, so it just looks a bit weird. But suffice to say, they did the job quite nicely on the little country lanes that I ride on. Other negatives that I can think of, you know, honestly, there's not that many, because ultimately if you're looking at this bike, it's because you're interested in this bike or cruiser bikes like this, and cruiser bikes inherently have some obvious downsides in the size, the weight, but this kind of alleviates most of those. What I mean by that is, yes, it is heavy, yes, it is a big bike, but it just handles really flipping well, and that engine is just very, very addictive. It is very, very silly, and it just makes you giggle. But it's got the added benefit that you can actually use it as a practical, as a sort of practical machine. You know, granted, it's not going to be the most practical bike. The size of weight will make it impractical for some people and in some situations, but yeah, having ridden the bike in an everyday capacity, I can say hand on heart that if I owned one of these, I would use it a lot, and it wouldn't just be a garage queen. I would use it a lot, because essentially it's a fun, really fun bike to ride. It strikes up a load of conversation with people, and I'm quite a social creature most of the time anyway, so I like that aspect of it. If you're a bit of a poser, it's great because, yeah, it gets people talking to you. But it's just, you know, whenever you park it up and you walk away from it, it's just a hell of a thing to look at. And the performance is obviously really flipping impressive. I don't think it's unfair to say I could go touring on one of these, even the R. I haven't ridden the GT yet. I'd like to. But yeah, I think it's Triumph engineering is to be commended, because it's what an absolutely crazy bike. You know, it might not be for everybody, sure, because it is quite expensive and it is quite big and it's heavy, but I'm glad it exists. I'm really glad it exists. Yeah, it's a hell of a thing. It's the sort of bike that you really have to ride it for yourself to figure out what it's about. I can't really convey the riding experience. You're going to have to just ride one, and if you do have a local dealer and they have one of these, I recommend everybody to go and give one a go. What I would say is don't be intimidated by it, even though it might look intimidating. It really isn't. It actually rides pretty well. It's not, I wouldn't say it's not scary, because this can get you in trouble. Here we go. Look where you want to go. Look where you want to go. Look where you want to go. There you go. See? U-turn. It's a really well balanced bike, and it handles itself very well. And yeah, okay, it's got a lot of power. It really has got a lot of power. But you can ride it sensibly, and it's not like crazy scary. It's like waves of endless torque. But it's not like rip your arms off. It's like I won't say it's a gentle shove. It's more like a rocket that slowly builds up. Maybe not all that slowly actually, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this bike waffle. It's a beautiful day today, so I thought I'd come out and just take this gorgeous machine for a spin. But essentially, yeah, I really have enjoyed my time with the Triumph Rocket 3R. I would like to try the GT just to see if it's a little bit more comfortable, not that this is an issue. So thank you very much to Triumph UK for lending me this bike, and thank you to you guys for watching. So that will just about cover this video. If you do go out today, do ride safely, but have fun of course. And until next time, you take care, and peace.